I'm Alex C. with Bird Law Group. Welcome back to another episode of Bird's Eye View. Today we are doing a view from the nest. And actually the guest on today's podcast is my husband, Ryan Toth.
Hi.
Are you anxious to be here? Are you anxious about being here?
Well, I've never done a podcast before, so I think there's some first-time jitters to be honest, but you know, I'm okay. It's fun.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It feels weird about people filming us while we're talking. I thought it would just be a normal conversation, but.
I mean, we watch your social media all the time.
We do. You watch podcasts all the time. It's just like Joe Rogan. Think about it like Joe Rogan.
Her social media is a nightly conversation.
Well, it's relevant.
It is. It's important. I think it's a good message.
So one thing that we do on Bird's Eye View on every episode is we pick someone to give the bird to. In the past, it has been to suit makers who don't put pockets on the inside of females' jackets. It's been to Jason Aldean for taking our Give 'em the Bird slogan.
Stole it.
He totally stole it. And I will talk about that on every episode until he finally apologizes. So who would you like to give the bird to? I have some ideas of who I think you'd want to give the bird to because I live with you and I know, and it can't be me. That's not fair. Yeah, sorry. Took your first idea.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who am I giving the bird to?
That's what I'm asking you.
Well, I don't.
We pick somebody to give the bird to. That's the whole thing. Give him the bird.
I wasn't prepared for this question.
It's supposed to be spontaneous.
Who am I giving the bird to?
Yes, who do you want to give the bird to?
Again, it can't be you.
No.
Okay. I don't know. I see. This is family oriented. Okay.
You're not gonna give the bird to my family either.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Probably not your clients, but whoever you guys are involved in a lawsuit with.
The defendants.
The defendants, yes. I
like giving them the bird too.
She tends to bring that home with her sometimes. So we have to turn it off, right? We get home, we're still dialed up, we're still wound up for whatever happened during the day. You can't believe what happened, you gotta do this. And it's like, hey, I'm not the enemy here. Let's turn off the argumentative mode and let's go back into hey, how can we help each other? So we have to kind of regroup and revisit, hey, we're home now,
I'm gonna be
married.
real. I'm gonna be real honest with you. That sounds like a backdoor way to give me the bird. Yeah. So maybe try again. Yeah, no, that's what you're sticking with.
I don't know.
I mean, I was thinking that you were gonna give the bird to something that frustrates you in your life. I guess, well, that's me, clearly. But I thought it was gonna be like VRBO or like that wackadoodle agent we had to talk to when we were in the car. Like something that causes you frustration in your life and your work. That's not me. I can feel you. I can feel what you're thinking right now.
I want to be appropriate here, but I don't know. I've got a million smokers.
Okay. All right.
I don't have a problem with anyone smoking. Do we have a background? I'm a property manager.
No, actually, I was just thinking we should probably do that. But go ahead, give the bird to smokers, say why, and then we'll talk about what you do.
Smokers. I don't care if you smoke. Just don't smoke inside. It's fine. And especially don't smoke inside one of my vacation rentals. I don't know who taught you this, but no one does it anymore. It's not okay. It's a problem. It's not good for anyone. It's not good for you. It's not good for me. It's not good for the next person who shows up.
Who then bitches at you because the place smells like smoke.
Yeah, it's just a whole process we have to go through. It's kind of a bugaboo for me. So that's kind of it. That's one of the, just recently we've had a kind of a slew of rudeness that I've had to deal with. So that was
okay, we'll give the bird to rude Airbnb guests, rude short-term rental guests, including those who smoke inside properties.
Yeah.
Sound good?
I guess just read the rules. They're simple, they're easy, they're not strict, they're pretty normal.
I know you and your rules, but okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about you and give some context as to why we're giving the bird to short-term rental guests that are rude. What do you do on a daily basis?
I guess I am a property manager, real estate investor. Probably if you had to define something, I'm probably more of a property manager. That's kind of the sweat equity that we have in the business. I was in medical sales when I moved to Atlanta in 2010, and at some point, it was like 2017, my brother was moving back to Atlanta and said, hey, I'm like, where are you gonna live? And he was like, well, I'm going to rent a place. And I was like, well, I had a little extra cash, and I was like, I'll buy a place, you can rent it for me. He's like, okay, cool. Well, he traveled so much for work, he said, well, let's try to find a place that we can sublease. And I was like, okay, cool. So I found a place we could sublease, bought it sight unseen, no pictures, walked into the place with my brother, and he was like, I'm not living here. And it was, quite frankly, I didn't really know how the ins and outs were gonna work with that anyways, but, and this was right around the time we met.
That's why I'm laughing, because I remember there was a couch in that place that smelled like absolute death.
Yeah, it's gross.
Someone may have died in there.
Yeah. So we met, and I'm middle of a project. We're banging out walls. We're using power tools. I mean, I think some of our first dates, we went to Subway. That's
all you would take me to, was Subway or Chipotle, and I didn't know if it was gonna work out, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Hey, Subway's solid. All right.
Well, you wouldn't let me eat until 10 o'clock at night.
Well, that's the only thing that was open.
That's the only thing that was open.
So we didn't have a lack of options there. But so I started that and renovated it all myself. I was still working full time. At that point, I was in hospice. I worked in hospice for a long period of time. Loved that job, but I started getting into the real estate thing, and that was successful as a rental. And then I bought another one that was successful. I bought another one that was successful. And then the bank started going, hey man, you got a kind of a debt to income issue here. And so I told some friends about what we were doing, and they bought some properties, and I started managing them for them. And then it kind of snowballed from there. And like everyone's like, hey, what Ryan does, and he's doing a good job, and will you manage mine? And it's kind of grown to a certain extent. So, and then somewhere around COVID, I had to make a decision on, I was really kind of working 2 full-time jobs at the time. I had the hospice thing going, which was, a lot of work. And then I also had this kind of real estate thing going, and I kind of had to, I remember talking to a buddy, and he was like, and we were engaged at this point. We were maybe just before we got engaged. But I remember talking to a friend, and he's like, I'm like, yeah, man, I'm holding 2 full-time jobs. Like I'm busy. I love being busy, and I'm working my butt off. And he kind of looked at me and he goes, are you good at both jobs, or are you bad at both jobs? Or are you kind of average at both jobs? And basically saying, hey, if you stopped one and did the other, would that become better? And that was kind of a decision-making point. There's also some like kind of operational stuff with the hospice thing. It was just an easy transition for me to go and kind of do this full time. And since then, that's what I do. So, I mean, at this point, we do all kinds of real estate, rentals, investments. But probably the primary thing we do is vacation rentals. We've handled probably, 40,000 different reservations that have come in and come out of our doors.
It still feels like you do 2 full-time jobs, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, so it's a small business, and I kind of handle everything, and I got some people that help me, some people that work for me, but it's a full-time thing, right? It's 24/7. I think that's something, and it just kind of fell into it. I kind of made a decision. It's like, hey, I'm kind of tired of working for somebody else. I'd rather work for myself. And which I love, but some of the things you don't consider when you run your own business, which I know is the amount of responsibility that you end up taking on. I mean, you're not just a lawyer anymore, right? I'm not just a property manager.
Or an investor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
you're everything.
Yeah, you're handling the marketing, you're handling the bookkeeping, you're handling the hiring, the firing.
Well, I don't. I hired Noy, so.
Right. I talked to them too. I wish I could afford them, but
I think that you gotta spend money to make money. I say that all the time. That's one thing that I think we differ on a little bit is budgeting, and I think that's been something that's been a little bit of a pressure point. I don't know what else to say. Mm-hmm. I think you run your business a little different than I do. They're different businesses, but would you say that you feel like the way that we look at those things are different? Delegating out tasks. I don't feel like you do that as much as I do. Maybe
don't.
I'm wrong, but
I don't. I mean, there's a certain point where you have to delegate and you have to let things go, and it's a really difficult part. You learn that, you don't know it until you start running your own business, but you have to get to a point where you're comfortable with delegating something and you're comfortable with someone else doing it. And are they doing it to your standard? And is it bringing a good return? It's a really difficult conversation. It depends on the topic. Obviously, like as soon as you delegate something, they have more responsibilities and there's a certain monetary value that's associated with that. So you have to pay them more, you're doing less. I mean, you're kind of always walking this line with every single person that you kind of hire and everything that you don't do anymore.
The speed of your voice is stressing me out as you talk through that, because I can hear you getting more stressed as you're talking about it.
I think about it every day. I think about it every day where it's like, hey, should I be doing this?
Should I be delegating this to someone else?
Should I hire someone to do it? It's 24/7. You never really know until you do it. I will say, a lot of times it's like sometimes you just got to jump in,
Oh yeah, no, I know.
Don't overthink about it kind of thing. So,
I know.
But yeah, so that's kind of a big part of the business. I know that you're familiar with it. But if you're talking about like just from like a day-to-day from our relationship standpoint and like who is the saver and who is the spender, it's pretty obvious.
No, it's not. How's it obvious? Just sitting here right now, how is it obvious? I look like I'm saving a lot of money. Okay? This is a testament to, well, that's part of my breakfast and my cuticle there, but this is a testament to work-life balance. And there's been, I guess, a lot more work, a little bit less life, and some budgeting of not having someone else do my nails. So try again.
You really think that?
Oh, I saved that one in my back pocket for when you started talking about this topic. I was gonna show that my nails weren't done.
I mean, how many, what? What is this? Am I being gaslit here? Because
you're being punked.
There is yes.
No, I want you to articulate. You said it's obvious. How is it obvious?
Oh, what do you mean with the spending and kind of budgeting?
The budgeting.
Do you remember when we met?
Is this a trick question?
Yeah, I mean.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, we had a lot of things that were unorganized, and we had a lot of things we had to kind of put back together, and kind of paying off debt and making sure we understand, like, hey, this is the budget we have for the month, or this is the budget we have for the year, and this is where our money is and going.
Okay,
things have changed significantly, I think, since then.
Fair.
Without getting into too many specifics.
Fair.
Okay.
Are you thinking of the example that I'm thinking of?
What, my car?
No. Oh my God, that's definitely obvious that you're a budgeter. Your car looks like a Converse tennis shoe.
My car sucks.
It's bad. It's real bad.
I feel like, and her family makes fun of me for it constantly.
I think you like that. I think you like that attention.
Being completely honest, I do. I mean, part of me also takes...
You admitted it on camera, this is great.
I mean, part of me takes some pride in the fact that I don't, look, vehicles are bad investments. They are. They're depreciating. So I'm okay with having a depreciating asset that, isn't flashy. I don't need to head turn. I don't need to show it out there. I know that what I have at home is solid and what we've done is solid. Oh,
I didn't realize I needed to say silence your cell phones.
It's constantly ringing.
It is, it always rings.
Yeah.
No, when we were talking about budgeting and how, I'll be honest, in a little vulnerable, I think you've actually helped me learn how to budget. I'm not sure that word was in my vocabulary when we met. And how to be a little more responsible with money, pay attention to things. I remember when we first started dating, I think you went over to, I was out of town, you went over to take care of my cats. Do you remember that? And my power was out.
She had cats.
That's a whole different story. I'm not a cat person. I ended up with 2 cats.
We just started dating. She was like getting a cat, coming home from family in Tennessee. And I was like, oh, cat.
I rescued them.
A week later, getting 2 cats. Because the cat, single, needs a friend.
I work too much.
It's only logical.
That's what Nanny said. Nanny said I work too much. It would be irresponsible to bring 1 cat home without a friend because it would be so lonely. I mean, how mean?
We're a month into, maybe 2 months into this thing, and I was like, cat lady? Like, is that who I want to be with? You're a cat lady.
Well, look, I was trying to give you one, and I was gonna let you make fun of me a little bit because I used to totally forget when my bills were due.
There's some serious thoughts of running. I wanted you to know, but obviously, she's awesome, and I stayed around regardless of the cats. They've grown on me a little bit, so.
Yeah.
But what? So I came over and I took care of the cats and what?
Yeah, and my power was out.
Oh yeah, why'd your power go out?
Because I forgot to pay the bill.
Freaked out. Like, I'm like, what's going on? What's happening here? Yeah, you forgot to pay the bill. Yeah, there's it. So since then, I think I've kind of taken over all of that.
He has.
Right?
He has. And so our power doesn't go out, our gas doesn't get shut off, and they have auto bill pay, which is fantastic. But I'm gonna be honest, I feel like when I'm running in a million different directions, that is the last thing I think of. So I'm really grateful that you picked up that side of running our family.
We are a yin and a yang to a certain extent. I mean, like,
that's probably a good way to put it.
Around the house, I pay attention to like the detailed things, like picking up items and just kind of cleaning up little things. And Alex is like very, blinders are on, we're gonna accomplish a task. It doesn't matter what kind of, what gets in her way and the fallout from all of that.
It's not nuclear war in our house.
You just opened a package this morning, and she left a little bit before me, and you left the wrapper on the floor.
What package?
I don't know, some like Amazon thing.
I don't remember that.
It's like, how don't you notice that? Like, I don't know. But I noticed.
Was it important to what I was doing in the moment?
For as much as she doesn't notice, I like notice everything. To be honest, it's a little, I probably don't need to OCD out on those little things as much as I do. But I mean, that's just a kind of a small example of things that we do. We kind of balance each other out. I think it's good.
You're more detail oriented when it comes to things. Like, I don't have to make the bed before I fold clothes. I think you would have a conniption if you had to fold laundry without the bed being made.
Yeah, it's a flat surface. You know what I'm saying? You
total
guys all know what I'm saying.
It's total opposite.
Like, you know, fold laundry down, it's all folded up. Bed needs to be made. First of all, you've made your bed every morning. You've accomplished a task. It's the first thing you've done. Day starts out better that way, so.
Yeah, but don't you think that some of that regimented sort of process has had to fall by the wayside since we had Everly? And how has that been for you? I don't know that we've ever actually talked about that. Like letting go. You've actually mentioned letting go of dirty dishes being in the sink last night because you weren't looking at it. But
I mean, I think it's natural. I think you're forced to. I think it's Mother Nature. So many things change. Personalities change. I mean, it's just there's something that happens to you that you have this nurture thing that ends up you're forced into to a certain extent.
Right.
And so you just change. So yes, those things kind of fall by the wayside. Like, I gotta let go of
She unmade bed this morning.
I let it go.
I know you did. I was shocked.
3 years ago, that would have been difficult. Like, we would have made it back. And it was just a giant waste of time, right? But I used to do stuff like that all the time, so it's not very efficient, but your daughter, you're just constantly cleaning up.
Always.
Does it just drive me nuts that all of her little toys don't have the pieces together with them at all times? Yeah, but that's a battle I'm not going to win, so we've kind of given up on that, if that makes sense. And so
we are slowly breaking it.
God, this is.
What?
Do people want to really know about that?
I don't know. I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all part of our life, right? We're both business owners, and we're parents. We happen to be married, and we have to run a business and run a relationship and run a family. I mean, that's a lot, I think.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I enjoy, one, we're on camera, so you can't get mad at me for asking any of these questions, right? So I'm getting like raw answers that I wouldn't actually get in like closed door conversations. So I'm taking advantage of this a little bit. But two, I mean, I think folks enjoy and appreciate when people can be vulnerable, and it's not a scripted, let's make everyone think that everything is unicorns and rainbows all the time, because it's not.
Oh, we're dropping F-bombs?
We do that from time to time. It is give them the bird. That's kind of the slogan,
I'm all right with it.
We do that. Wait till I make you do the owl eyes at the end of the show.
Here we go.
Have you practiced? Maggie didn't practice, and it was rough.
No, I didn't practice the owl eyes.
Well, that'll be on you. That's not my problem. Okay, so a couple of fun questions. What is something that most people don't know about me?
how revealing do we want to get here?
Well, we can always edit it if you say something real stupid.
Oh, we're editing? How much editing are we doing? Because, God, closet is a mess.
Well, I think they know that now because
Yeah.
you've already said that I don't really pay attention
Just
to
this
details.
morning, and I'm focused on it.
When it comes to picking stuff up around the house, I'm very detail oriented at work, so that's.
Oh, she's a fantastic cook. Fantastic. Like, I mean, Mom, you make great food. You know, we had tons of kids growing up. I'm one of 5, and in my Catholic family, Ohio, there's just kids and food. So they made stuff in bulk a lot of times. And I get to Alex, and she starts cooking like day one. I mean, what was it, peach cobbler and some sort of stuffed bacon jalapeno chicken? Like, it was fantastic. That was, I think that was the first one you made. And there's a lot of love and care and detail that she puts into that. There's a lot of focus that she does. I mean, to a certain extent, I think that's your version of therapy. You know, we all have our little things that can kind of reduce anxiety and things for us.
Cooking?
Yeah, it's a spot where she can shut off, but great cook, probably better baker, which is, that's tough sometimes because, cake is good.
It is. I prefer to bake for other people, not us.
Don't take it away, So yeah, I don't know. I think that's it. Something that.
Yeah, that was pretty G-rated. I didn't know where you were gonna go with that. They put that question on the cue card, and I asked it. I was a little nervous.
Yeah.
Well, no, don't think of something else, bro. Like, we're good. We'll leave it at cooking and bacon. What's your favorite dish of mine that I cook?
Oh man, the shrimp pasta dish is fantastic. We've made that tons of times. God, I have a list on my phone. It's like a top 10.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Get it out.
yeah.
I want to see. You have your phone in your pocket. It just rang. We know it's there.
Actually, I don't know where the list is.
Oh.
I wouldn't be able to find it. It's somewhere buried, somewhere deep in it. I don't know if we're going to spend 5 minutes finding the list, but.
Okay, fair enough.
There's the like pineapple dessert that you've made for us once or twice. The sausage dish that you made for us the other day was fantastic. I don't know what these things are called.
Oh, I don't think they have names, dude. It's because you're right. It is an outlet for me. So I go in the kitchen and depending on what we got and what kind of mood I'm in.
And they change.
Something comes out.
I'm like, this was fantastic. Recreate that. She goes, I'm not sure how I did that. So recreating that might be difficult. And she'll try it again. It's slightly different, sometimes better, but
sometimes worse.
Sometimes worse, yeah. Oh, there's another thing you got to be careful of is when she cooks. Like, the critique is a sensitive subject depending on the mood she's in. All right.
Oh, that is so not true. I can take criticism.
I mean, yeah, if you're not stressed, which is rare.
Okay, you know what? You wait until your next woodworking project. I'll let you know how I really feel about it.
That's one of the things I do to kind of reduce stress.
Yeah, so what is my cooking is to your woodworking, I guess?
Woodworking or something like that, Before Everly, I used to be kind of an avid gym goer, but she kind of just took that all from me, So recently I've been riding my bike a little bit more as kind of a stress reliever kind of thing. But that, I once a week I still play men's softball,
Oh, come on, you're not going to talk about the other sport?
Bowling?
Mm-hmm. When we first met, Ryan was in a bowling league. You still are, right? Technically?
People have a hard time getting the team together. It's a harder time getting them together. Guys, look, we need to get back. All right? Shake hands with the head pin.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know what to say. I got to take a minute. No, but I remember when we met, you were in a bowling league, and you may have been like, oh my God, Alex is adopting 2 cats from her grandparents' farm. Wow, I've got a cat lady. I'm sitting here looking at you in a zip-up embroidered shirt that's like a bowling short sleeve collared shirt thinking, what have I gotten myself into?
Bowling attire, I think, is the worse you look, the cooler it is.
Oh, was that the goal?
Or the more fun it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a safe space.
Was it?
It is. I don't know if you're too impressed. very hot in there too. So.
They had a bar, so I mean, I could pass the time.
This is very casual, guys. I'm not good. Like, so I'm not, like, let's not focus too much on that. I'm okay.
You got a custom ball.
I mean, yeah, you gotta get your own ball. I mean, it's just like your shoes. You're not sticking your hands into that thing. Gross.
At least yours wasn't scented. Whose was scented?
Oh, yeah.
Who ended up with a scented? I didn't even know they made scented custom bowling balls. That's disgusting.
Yeah, that was like early on in the relationship, right?
Yes, and
like,
your car smelled like,
yeah.
I don't know, a knockoff Bath and Body Works. And I'm like, what is this?
I think a friend of mine, I drove him to bowling, and it was boysenberry, I think. I don't remember, Matt, was it boysenberry?
A friend of yours. It's Matt Hagan. It's another lawyer. Matt, sorry, I'm calling out your stinky bowling ball.
He hated that ball.
Well, I would too.
He didn't know. He bought the ball. He didn't know it was scented. He puts it in his car, and it's like, what's going on? Like, I like the ball, but where'd this come from?
What's this smell in my car?
I didn't buy any new citronella trees.
Okay, so the next thing that they wanted us to talk about, we talked about it a little bit. I say they. We're supposed to talk about, because this is kind of just flowed as a conversation, but career balance and family life, and it's a deep topic.
That was something like I was kind of mentally thinking about, was that topic, and how we want to go about kind of discussing it. And it's hard, guys. It's hard. You know, obviously we both lead pretty stressful lives. It's all 24/7. There's things that go our way or not our way, and it's hard to shut it off when we get home. I kind of talked about that a little bit earlier, and reminding ourselves to shut it off when we get home is difficult, because we're guilty of bringing it home, right?
I think we do. I think Everly's helped with that, because to a certain extent, like, she forces us to, our daughter's 3, and she forces us to pay attention to her. Like, there's just no way to go our separate ways and keep working without taking some sort of break, because, she's 3 and we have to take care of her. And
yeah, she's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, she is pretty awesome.
She's a daddy's girl.
She is, 100%. That's why I hope that baby number 2 is.
I hope so too, really.
I hope baby number 2 is a boy. I want a mama's boy. I really do.
I really need to be humbled.
What?
I need to be humbled.
What do you mean?
She makes me feel like I'm the best dad ever.
I think you are the best dad ever.
Can always improve, but we bring that stuff home, right? Yeah. And it's challenging. It's a spot where we're fine if one of us is not stressed, right?
I think that's true.
And so the other one kind of just like, yeah, I can tell they're stressed. We deal with it. But if we come home in one of those spots where we're both stressed, this image always goes through my head. It was like 2 wrecking balls just kind of like knocking into each other, and it's like,
that is aggressive.
We've got some A+ personalities here, and stubborn, and we escalate situations, and if we want to be candid about all that, I mean,
who's we? You got a rat in your pocket?
I
know it's we. It's fair. I'm giving you a hard time.
I don't know, turn this into a therapy session, but we have a terrible habit of escalating things, for no reason. And it's strictly based in stress. And it's like, it takes us a little while to have a breather and come down from it over time. And, especially with children, you don't have time for each other as much. And so you have to be conscious of all these things. And know that, like, hey, we're trying to achieve a goal here, and make sure you understand that family is the priority. But yeah, it's sometimes you have to remind yourself, and sometimes in the moment we are just 2 wrecking balls hitting each other.
I mean, the good news is, at least at the house, we have separate areas we can go to for a minute if we need. I have my porch, right?
I'm a safe space guy, but we have separate areas. I have no safe space.
I have my porch.
She can leave. Like, you get into something with each other, no matter what it is. 90% of the time, what we're arguing about is so silly, isn't it? I mean,
it is, and I'm usually right, and you're usually wrong, and it just takes you a minute to figure that out.
And she looks at, like, she argues for a living. For a living.
Which is why I don't know why you continue to argue with me.
I knew I was getting myself into this, right? And I'm impressed by her intellect, her her beauty, her drive, all this stuff. But geez Louise, like I wasn't ready for that. Like it's a battle. I gotta be like on my toes, and sometimes I'm like, man, I'm too tired to try to come up with a rebuttal to whatever you're talking about. We're not at trial here.
You've said that before at home. Or stop cross-examining me. And honestly,
talking about laundry.
I know. I'll be real though. Sometimes I don't even realize I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because I'm trained to get information out of somebody and feed it to a jury, right? Or a judge or in a deposition, whatever. But get information out of somebody by asking questions, and either they're leading or they're open-ended. And sometimes I'll come at Ryan with some leading questions, and he's like, "Okay, you're not at work anymore."
Yeah, I have to
it's something
recognize
I have
it too.
Yeah.
You know, when you're doing that. But look, it's a challenge, but it's also kind of cool. It's not boring.
So our house is definitely not boring.
No.
I think I really took care of that.
If there's an issue, I want to take a breather, call a timeout, right? Timeout. She hates the timeout. Hates the timeout. She thinks I abuse the timeout.
You do. You do abuse the timeout. Why do you need a timeout when we could just sit there and talk it out?
Because we're not in the headspace for that. Like it's like you're stressed. You need a breather. At least I do. I think you do too, because you change it from talking about what the goal of this argument is, or what a good mutual result is, to just winning the argument. That's when I'm guilty of the same thing. It's like, we just want to win this argument that is so irrelevant, and it's like, what are we wasting our time on? I mean, you get in those moments, I think everyone's guilty of it, is just sweating the small stuff, and it's like, why are we sweating the small stuff?
I mean, things are definitely better. Look, I'll be completely honest. I think things are better when we are working on like the specific ways, or that's not what I'm trying to say. My words aren't functioning. Ever since, by the way, just side note, we've had one media day, maybe two. One since I found out I was pregnant. My words don't work the same way anymore. Like, they just don't come together in a sentence. I trip over my words constantly now. So I just want you to know I'm struggling with that, in addition to growing your child.
We're pregnant.
My words don't come to me.
Thank you for that. I don't say thank you enough. I think I should say it more.
Aw, you're just trying to get brownie points on the camera, but that's sweet.
I mean it. I'm conscious of it, and I need to say thank you more. And I know it's a big deal. I know I'm aware of the hormones that are involved with this process.
Oh, go there, please.
You don't like Tina like that. It's factual, but. So they changed.
That door's closed. I mean, we're in this room together.
Come on, you know.
I know.
You know this.
It's a fact of life. But anyway, okay, what was I trying to say before I got off on before I squirreled? I squirreled off into I can't form sentences land. What were we just talking about?
Now that you're pregnant, you can't form sentences.
Yeah, before that. It was about balance. Oh, being intentional about using tools for communication, like when we're stressed. I think that's been helpful. Like when we actually sit back and we're like, okay, active listening, right? Where one person says something, the other person repeats it back, and then you just keep going back and forth so that you're actually listening to what the other person is saying.
You repeat what they say calmly, and then rebuttal whatever they're saying without interrupting. These are all kind of tools. Look, we've done some therapy before, for any particular reason, but I think
communication, I think, is the particular reason, and I think more people should do it.
100%.
I really do. I mean, I think it's something that some people look at it like, oh, you're in therapy? Like, are you on the verge of divorce? No, dude. I want to be happy.
Yeah, I think you're working on a happy. We go there and our life is immediately happier, because you tend to get caught in the day-to-day and you forget about these tools and we stop practicing them, and all of a sudden the wrecking balls hit each other again and we're like, Can
you stop with all I can think about is Miley Cyrus when you say that. I'm sorry.
Swinging on the wrecking ball.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's a good song.
Ryan can sing.
I'm not singing on camera, I can tell you that.
Well, that's okay. I videotaped you in the shower doing Chris Stapleton or something the last time, so we'll just use that as B-roll in the episode.
Tennessee Whiskey is a good song.
Yeah. That's the one you were belting out in the shower.
You built it out with me. We had a couple nights with a little too many drinks, and we've been in our kitchen, both belting.
We have this tiny.
You thought you
it's
were
so
in
silly
sync and
because we have all these speakers that we could use. We have the TV in the living room. We have a TV outside, and we gather for some reason. If we're having a night, we gather around this tiny little Alexa in the corner of our kitchen, and that's where we'll end up. I don't know. I guess singing karaoke is the best way to put it.
rocking it out. One thing, you know, what would you call the genre of music, which is surprisingly you love, but I love as well?
R&B?
Is R&B, and it's usually like kind of predates. I'm a little older than Alex, but how do you know this song? You know, some of these.
I've just always loved R&B, even R&B that predates me. It's what I like.
I mean, you knew every lyric to the Beastie Boys song. What was the
Paul Revere?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that almost predates me. Like, I don't know how you know every.
You can
lyric
thank my
to that
dad
song.
for that.
Yeah.
He was a big
yeah.
Beasties fan, and you know, we watched Tommy Boy and listened to the Beastie Boys. Like that was like the cool thing to do.
I'm like,
with Dad.
How do you know who SWV is? You're not supposed to know who SWV is.
I don't know.
It's cool. You know.
Yeah. So, but yeah, the communication stuff, and I think just making time for each other is something we have to intentionally do. What was one of the other communication methods they gave us, or like ways to?
Well, the timeouts are supposed
I'm not talking
to
about
be
the
effective.
timeouts anymore.
They're supposed to work. You call a timeout. What we weren't doing though, when you do that, is we actually didn't learn this tool till later. Is the person who calls the timeout needs to be the person who revisits the topic, and you have to give kind of a time frame for how long we're going to kind of take a break from this topic, and we'll come back and revisit it. And that person's supposed to reinitiate it. Well, I would just call a timeout, and I'd just be like, well, good, I'm out of this one. You know.
See, you just admitted that you abused the timeout.
Like I'm exaggerating a little bit. I think the timeout was appropriate in the moment, but I don't think I recognized like, hey, there's something bothering her. We need to address this when we both kind of came down a little bit. So, yeah. And all these changes we have with our daughter Everly, she's 3, and now with another one on the way. There's obviously all these other stressors, and your life changes. You don't have much time for yourself. You know, I can't work out as much, which is like, you know, there's also a mental aspect to that. And like, I swear when you have a child, it strips like 100 points off your testosterone level. There's some studies that show that. Studies that show that, by the way.
He brought home, I think I'm rubbing off on you because he actually brought home one of those studies, and he was like, I have it, it's right here. Because I told him, I was like, I think you're making that shit up.
Look, if I say it, she doesn't believe me, but you know, if I bring it on paper, maybe it'll hit home a little bit.
Sources.
I need multiple sources now. This is what I deal with. If we have an argument, I have to bring multiple sources with me.
Sources.
Yeah.
No, I mean, okay, look, it wasn't me who didn't believe you. We were at our first OBGYN appointment for the second pregnancy, and he decides to talk to my doctor about it. Asking her about what happens to a man's testosterone level after they have a baby. He brings that up at the girl doctor. And she's like, well, I'm not really sure about that. And I'm like, yeah, let's get back to talking about how my body's changing. But so that after that, he went to his own doctor and then came home with a study to prove me wrong. I'm not the only lawyer, it seems like.
But they don't know everything.
The doctors?
Yeah. You know that.
Believe me, I know they don't. They are not infallible.
Yeah, there's something to it. But so obviously, you know, things change. You know, you're adjusting, and you know, hormone levels change with both parties, which is also part of that study. And like, so you gotta kind of work through all that, and it's ever evolving. Look, I mean,
I think we found it's a new us.
Overall, I think though that like, look, man, we've got it pretty good. I look at my parents, and you know, they raised 5 kids, and like, you know, that's how I look at it now. I'm like, how'd you do that? Like, I have no clue.
My parents raised 3, and I still don't know how they did it.
I had no clue how you got that done. So I think we're good now with 2. You know, not contributing to population growth, but we're also not negatively contributing either. So I like to break even. I'm good with it. 2 people, 2 kids. We're good.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Unless you want to have 3.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither.
I think this is going to perfectly round it out. And if you think about it, like when they give away family trips, it's for a family of 4. booths and normal tables at a restaurant. They fit a family of 4. I think this it makes sense.
We're decided.
Thank God.
It's because of the booth.
It's the booth. It's the booth that did it.
The booth argument is fantastic.
It's the booth that did it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one funny story, or I don't care, maybe not even one, but the funniest memory you have about becoming a parent? Or in the process of becoming a parent. I don't know if I worded that the right way.
Just the first thing that comes to my mind has got to be the music as you're giving birth.
Oh, Jesus. I remember this.
That's kind
Obviously, I remember this.
Look, you they told me to help, right? You're supposed to help. She's going through this process, a beautiful process, and I'm pumped. They're middle of COVID. You don't have any family or friends. No one guides you through this thing, and they're like, hell, help her breathe. So I turned it into like straight up like a bench press. It was like 1, 2, 3, 4, push. It was like. And so there's like a beat to it, and the doctor's like, well, put on some music for it. Maybe this will make it go a little easier. I don't know why, but AC/DC was the first thing that came to my mind. And so we popped on some AC/DC.
You.
I did. I mean, the doctor looked up and was like, what is this?
She was not happy with
I was intense. I was pumped up. I was like, let's get this thing out. Let's go.
Which AC/DC song? Was it Back in Black? Or?
I think it was Hell's Bells. I don't remember.
I think it was something.
I remember AC/DC's appropriate for this moment. I was thinking, we're gonna get this baby out.
Yeah, this wasn't like a Pandora random song situation. This was Ryan intentionally going, AC/DC is what I'm playing for my wife right now.
Might have been thought out. I don't know.
They made you change it.
Felt like if you're, doing a 1 rep max deadlift, this would have been the right song for it. I mean, I feel that's like something similar to it. Right?
That's what you're equating childbirth to?
I look, that's about the best I got. It's as close as I'm gonna get, right?
I guess. Shit. I don't know.
What are you gonna put on? And that's where my head went to. What are you gonna put on when you're doing the 1 rep max? And AC/DC is a good one,
Yeah, we went with country. It was a little more soothing.
We switched to country. It's smooth things out. Doctor looked up.
She was much happier with you at that point. I'm not admitting that. So if you can't remember it, I'm not bringing that up.
Look, I still, people look, they look.
He remembered it.
You asked for the extra stitch. I asked for it. Baby came out, looked like, hey doc, I don't know if this is a thing, but if it is, put the extra stitch in there.
You're such a dickhead.
I said it straight up. I didn't know how inappropriate it was. The doctor looked up. She's like down there, like
it's a room full of females. Okay,
I haven't seen a male in hours. Probably why I'm just spouting off. She didn't say anything to me. It was just her gaze. She just looked up at me, just utter disgust, and looked back down and kept doing what she was doing. I was like, oh, it's not a thing.
Then what'd you say? Because you got awkward. And when Ryan gets awkward or like anxious, he doubles down on just the weird nonsense.
And that's a little embarrassing.
What?
Oh, like the placenta?
Yeah. Like asking for the extra husband stitch wasn't embarrassing?
I heard like there's a lot of nutrients and stuff. I was like, do we save it? Do we cook it?
He's like, I want to fry it up.
Do we fry it up?
He got another look.
Look, I listen to a lot of podcasts,
About placental absorption or
it's a thing.
Ingestion?
Everyone knows it's kind of a thing. I don't know if it's a real thing, but that was a joke though, to be clear. I didn't actually want to fry up the placenta, but I felt like I needed to break the tension there after I asked for the stitch. I'm still not certain on that.
On the placenta?
The stitch. Placenta, I think that's for real, but I don't know. I didn't study it or anything like that.
Okay.
Can't get it at Kroger.
No, you can't. No, you can't. Okay. So those stories are
Whole Foods?
Huh?
Whole Foods?
Probably more like a vitamin shops where you're gonna go for some like that. No, but those stories they're funny. I was thinking more of like something that's happened since she's been on this earth.
That what?
Like a funny parenting story with Everly. A moment with her. Is there
lights?
The
lights are hot.
It's to make your complexion look better. You'll appreciate it later. The lighting is everything.
All right. Funny story since she's been born.
Yeah.
Potty training. If you haven't had kids,
Potty training. That's a good one.
because you don't realize it. This is her first experience potty training. It's gross. It's just gross. Like you think about it up front before you go through it. It's kind of cute. It's not. It's pretty gross.
Mm-hmm. She's actually using the adult size potty now, and I think that's gotten a lot less stressful. I'm gonna be honest with you. Having a second baby, I have no fear about us being able to handle it. But dear God, we have to go back through the sleepless nights and the potty training all over again, and the
It's
diapers.
Poop. It's just poop.
And poop. There's just poop
It's
everywhere.
Poop everywhere.
Do you remember we just got that new couch? We brought Everly home, and she just pooped all over the ottoman.
She didn't eat her poop. So we got through that.
Huh?
She never ate her poop.
No. Are there children who eat their poop?
Yeah.
What?
I don't think it's a dish. But she goes to the bathroom in her little potty. She doesn't know what it is. They pick it up like.
People's kids do that?
I'm pretty sure it's a thing. Maybe it just runs in my family.
That would explain so much.
God, I got off the rails here.
Yeah, you did. I mean, my parents' chihuahuas will eat their own poop if you don't pick it up, but like, I've never heard of a kid doing that.
She doesn't know any better. I was always worried about it. She would go, we wouldn't be around, and I'm like, don't eat the poop. That was
a fear?
It's definitely a fear for me.
You were scared our daughter was gonna eat her own.
I don't know. I'm telling you, it happens.
Okay. All right.
Edit that one out. That's not good.
Oh, we're not editing that. That's too funny.
Is that funny? Is that a funny thing?
I think it makes you look a little loopy.
I'm not talking about the poop thing. I'm talking about just potty training in general. Is that a?
Yeah, I think it went fine
question?
until you took a sharp right turn and talked about her eating her poop.
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest with you, that was strange. But
I should have thought that one out. Yeah, I know.
Well, you don't always think before you speak, do you, Ryan?
This is a thing. Yeah. Lack of filter tends to be something I got.
Yeah.
We're working on it.
We are.
No, in your 40s is a good time to start, I think.
Oh my God. Do you think it has something to do like with the culture and, oh my God, clearing your throat? Don't you think you did enough that this morning when you were brushing your teeth? Yeah.
She thinks I have more saliva than a normal human being. Like it's.
That's not where I was going with that.
There's never been it's insanity. There's never been a time where I've sat down next to her and she hasn't been bothered by the way I am eating. Like there's no, like it's, you sit down on the couch at night, you have like something that's crunchy. I have to think about it. I consciously, you go to the pantry, you're like, kind of want a snack. Don't get something that's noisy because I'm gonna get in trouble. 100%.
I think that's called consideration, but I do think that there's something to the fact that I haven't actually researched this, maybe I should, but there has to be something to the fact that there are like salivary glands that overproduce.
I don't think I have more saliva than a normal person.
I think you do.
There's like TikToks on this, so I don't think you're the first person to be bothered by the way somebody else eats, but you know, this has like been a legit topic of conversation where she just constantly yells at me about the way I eat.
You know, I didn't think about having you on the podcast and how it was going to turn into like the roast of Alex, but
generally things a lot of times do turn into the roast of Alex. I don't know if like your professional life realizes that, but if we're with their family, a lot of times it turns into the roast of Alex.
like,
So I don't know if people realize that, which is kind of fun. It also turns into the roast of Ryan all the time.
I started to say you're the sensitive Sally about that.
Yeah, I'm just a little bitch about it sometimes.
You are. You can't handle it. But, or usually you can't. You're not always a good sport about it. But what do you mean it turns into the roast of Alex with my family? Don't look at me like
You want to talk about what we roast you on?
Yeah. What are you referring to? Maybe I'm not getting the joke.
No.
What? How do I get roasted?
I mean, if she puts a foot peel on, that's just jokes for days with her family.
Oh, because I have stinky feet.
Sometimes. I still love you.
Okay, you do roast me about my feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how deep you want to get into that. I don't know.
No, I think we can leave it there.
You asked. She pushed the topic.
I didn't know that's where you were going. I thought you were going to go with like how they make fun of the way I talk, or that I say, like, I choose words that maybe people don't use in everyday conversation. My sister makes fun of me for that constantly. I thought you were going to go there.
No.
I didn't think you were going to go with my feet.
I don't pay any attention to that. That's not good. It's not a roast.
Oh, well, they make fun of me for it. Anyway, what I was going to say about your filter. Do you think it has something to do with the fact that you're from Ohio? Does that make you a Yankee? Are you a Yankee if you're from Ohio?
Yep, anything north of the Mason-Dixon, which is Ohio.
So do you think like that,
Ohio River would be Ohio.
does everybody up there just say things without thinking about what they're saying? Because down here in the South, it's all like, yes ma'am, no ma'am. We're conscious about other people's feelings. And I feel like sometimes you and your family just let it rip and it doesn't really matter. It's like, we can all speak our minds. We all need to have tough skin.
I don't know. Probably, I'm sure there's some sort of Midwestern kind of thing that's involved with that. We got a little bit of, you kind of mix of everything, but we got a little New York, that kind of like, just spit it out. Don't be afraid to say anything kind of thing in the mix. I mean, it's also probably because there's 5 kids, 2 parents, friends and stuff over all the time. You're just trying to get your opinion in all the time, when there's a lot of people around. I mean, I'm one of, 22, 21 grandchildren on my dad's
It blows
side.
my mind. So like, Christmas is coming up, Thanksgiving, right? I mean, at any given time in your childhood, how many people were at Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Dude, I don't know. It just depends on the year. I mean, it had to have at some point at my grandparents' house gotten into close to 50 people at the house at some point.
I mean, this was like a traditional ranch home, right?
Yeah, 3-bedroom. Kind of crazy is my grandparents' house. It's just, super middle class. My grandparents' house is very much similar to her grandparents' house. So
Yeah.
the wood panel walls, the picture of the grandkids, that whole thing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I just don't understand how you guys would all pile in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of
And we had a big family, but it was not that big.
there's a lot of humidity in that house.
What are some of the holiday traditions from your childhood? I don't know that we've ever talked about this. So I really want to know, not just for the podcast, but holiday traditions from your childhood that you want to implement in Everly's.
Man, there's one, maybe not Everly, maybe baby number 2, which I've always wanted to do, which I tried to do. So when I was born in April, and the following Christmas, my mom bought, this is back when you bought trees. They bought a tree, but the roots was still in it. You could buy one with the roots still in it. So they used it as a Christmas tree and then they planted it. So it's kind of interesting because the tree kind of grew with me. So I think that'd be a cool thing to do.
That'd be
tradition
cool.
to do with baby number 2.
We didn't really we tried to plant a tree.
We tried to do that with Everly, but
We lived on concrete, so
Yeah.
we had no yard.
when you're in a townhome with an HOA,
It didn't work
start
out.
planting evergreens and stuff.
Well, it died.
Yeah,
It was in that barrel.
no, sad.
It was sad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we should plant a tree. I
Found
like
out that
idea.
trees like that, they need cooler ground, the whole thing.
Not a pot in Georgia.
I definitely don't have a green thumb.
Me
Yeah,
neither.
that thing that fell on hard time.
Although this year we built a standing garden and we actually got tomatoes out of it, and basil, and mint, and parsley.
We did. That hit like she got it hit both hobbies or stress relievers. So I got
did.
to do some woodworking and projects, and then she got to do
Gardening.
which is also part of her cooking, and so that was cool.
That was fun. Although we learned very quickly that doing pocket hole screws is not for me. Ryan took over. He doesn't like it when someone comes. I don't like when somebody comes in my kitchen and screws something up. Like, he gets kicked out of the kitchen often. So in the same way, I think you just didn't like it that I was out there doing woodworking and I was like, I don't know, splitting the wood or something.
I had a million projects that I wanted to finish, and we just interjected the garden. We're gonna make a garden now.
Alex's tunnel vision.
Yeah.
It was on my garden.
And I just knew it the whole. She's like, I'm gonna build it. Just buy the wood. And show me where the tools are, and then drill these pocket holes, and then stain it, and then figure out how to actually construct it, and put the dirt in it. But yeah, you were gonna build the.
We did it
garden.
together.
We did.
It worked
It
out.
was a mutual thing. I don't know how much percentage went in one or the other, but.
And this weekend, I think we're starting a new tradition with Everly. We have inflatables for the front yard. How do you really feel about the snowman and the nutcracker that we ordered? I got inflatables for Everly because she loves driving by houses that have like blow up snowman or penguins or just like, even if it's Halloween themed, she just loves looking at that. So I was like, you know what? We have a front yard now. Why aren't we doing that? They came in the mail the other night. We opened them, blew them up in the house. I haven't really gotten your reaction yet.
Generally, whenever an Amazon package shows up, I'm a little like, what is this? But slowly over time, and all of these little things that you have told me are important, like we want to spend Christmas morning at the house. I don't think in the moment I realize how important that is. And I think this may be the first year where I'm realizing with these blow up Christmas decorations, I recognize now that my daughter will enjoy it, and kind of subsequently I will get enjoyment out of that as well. And I don't think up front I just looked at it like just a Christmas decoration. Why are we spending money on this? Bah humbug, you know, that kind of thing. But no, I'm okay with it, honestly.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I look forward to it. Yeah, we blew them up in the house and she liked them so much. I'm like, this sounds so cool. I can't wait to see her outside and like you can be super excited and totally know what you mean when we're driving by places and she's excited. But look, we only get you recognize that you only get a certain window here to appreciate that. I think, you know, life moves so fast. I will, you know, one of the things I wish I would have done is like just kind of, and everyone thinks their kid is like the best kid ever. Obviously, I feel that way. But I wish I would have and everyone takes massive amounts of videos and photos anymore. Let's put it on social media. So I'm not really a social media guy, but I tend to like say, let's live in the moment. But I do generally kind of look at those moments and go, man, I wish I had that one thing documented, you know?
Like the way she used to say dad, dad, mama, and now it's mommy and daddy.
And you're like, that's gone now.
Yeah.
Every night, you know, I put her to bed at night. Alex gets her out of bed in the morning, and every night we say, I love you, night night. And I remember when she first started responding to me, and it's weird because initially she's just mimicking you or echoing your voice. I don't think she knows what it means. And slowly over time you start recognizing that she knows what these words mean, and like, I didn't document any of that, and I kind of wish I would. And it's just that there's a perfect example of like.
I think we have it on at least one video.
So there's also a balance there of like, enjoy the moment, but also have a memory. I don't know. I was listening to a podcast once, and it says something along the lines of like, do you remember your worst time as a parent? The most stressful you ever have been?
I do.
Picture it. Fast forward to when you're 80 years old and you can think back to that memory and how bad at the time you thought it was, but when you're 80, you would do anything to get that moment back. So it's kind of something to recognize in the moment, even if it's good or bad. I
think I might have imagined the wrong moment because I was thinking about when I got like mastitis when I was breastfeeding and I was in the shower and like, when my boob got all inflamed and clogged up and I had to take medication. I was like, I was infected. You don't remember that?
That was a perk. See, I thought about that one.
Because I don't even know why that's funny. Or like, why do your mind?
People know why that's funny.
Okay, whatever. But I don't know that I want to go through that pain again. But I did it, and I did it for my child. And then I think back to, breastfeeding was such a stressful time. But still, like when she was a little squishy baby, I think I will want that moment back. Some way. Okay, well, the last question, goals or plans for next year? What are your goals for next year?
We talking work, family, all the above?
Yeah, all the above.
Specific goals?
My goal is to refinish the basement so that we can properly set up the bedrooms upstairs for the kids.
That task will definitely fall onto my shoulders.
Oh, you'll take
It's
it
a
over.
giant task. Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd want that done.
We just got our guest bedrooms upstairs set up, like staged, decorated. I have Everly's bedroom and 2 guest bedrooms. They literally, I think my family has maybe stayed in them once, and then we find out we're pregnant, so we're gonna have to just dismantle one of our guest bedrooms, which is a happy thing, but I want somewhere to put it.
I'd like to make just a real conscious effort on just our day-to-day health and just the way that we're treating ourselves and just
I think that's right.
stress levels, eating habits, physical activity, all of those things. I've already made some changes because you have children and you slowly get away from those items and it gets away from you fast.
It does.
And I'm a little bit older for dad, and look, my knees aren't great, and like I gotta, we got a new baby coming, and I want to make sure that I'm like energetic and happy, and all those things are kind of come into each other. So I think that when one person, it's better when we're both kind of doing those things together. And,
It is. I think we're more successful when we support each other through those types of things. I think it should be a good joint goal of ours.
For us, it's regulating the stress though. Like that's, if we could just regulate stress, everything else improves, but it's a complicated thing when we've got our own.
Oh, I didn't tell you this. I'll tell you this now, so your reaction has to be on camera. I got a walking desk for my office.
I'm sorry.
I did, but it fits into your goal. Are you not happy about that? Why are you laughing? It's a little walking treadmill desk.
I'm proud of you. How much did you spend on it? Doesn't matter. It's just a point. The return on investment.
I knew that's what you were going to
I
ask.
hope there's a good return on investment.
There's going to be. I'm going to walk on it.
Alex signed up for yoga once, and she said, I can either sign up for 3 classes, but if I sign up for the whole year, we get a discount.
And I went for 6 months.
What?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, so to health next year. We can end on that
6
note.
days. Whatever, it's fine. But that's a tendency to do that. Like, let's go for like 2 months consistently before we invest in anything. It's kind of consistent across our entire relationship. It's not just that, it's the walking
This
desk.
is how Ryan motivates me. He's not just it's a motivation thing for him.
I wish I could develop an app that was like a return on investment app, all right? So every time you go to buy something, it would give you feedback and say, give a return on investment score. So you buy things like socks, it's like 10 out of 10 return on investment. You're gonna wear those things 70 times, really good. But you go and you buy this like really expensive sweater, you wear it once, you wash it inappropriately and it shrinks. Never wear it again.
Bad ROI.
Bad ROI. That's like a 1 out of 10. So
ROI.
let's see I hope the walking desk is a 10 out of 10. Let's do it. That's part of our goal. We're gonna get a good return on investment on the walking desk. I've thought about that too, actually. I think it'd be kind of cool. But
well, I mean, you're on the phone constantly. I am too.
I'm always pacing.
What stops me from getting up in my office and walking at a low speed on the treadmill when I'm on the phone?
Yeah,
I mean, it plays into the goal for next year, which is why I brought it up. So,
look, I'm all for it. You gotta keep trying.
it's got to be a constant effort.
It's always a battle. You always keep trying. So we'll keep trying at that. We'll keep trying at our relationship. We'll keep trying at work and
Being good parents, cleaning up poop,
live life, and hopefully,
live, laugh, love.
leave a decent legacy.
Well, thanks for coming on to the podcast. I know normally it's about law and legal stuff, but I thought this was a good way to end the year. A little more personal. Probably some things that I wouldn't have otherwise put on social media if my husband wasn't sitting here. And maybe some things he wouldn't have put on social media if he wasn't sitting here with his wife. So hopefully it's relatable to more folks. And thanks for being on Bird's Eye View. So at the end, what we do.
Owl?
Yes. Then we hoo.
I think I can stress.
Who?
Are you guys for real?
Are you hooting or not?
I can't see you.
Who?
Who? You got the shot?
I think so.
For
Okay.
the love of God.
Until next time, please like, subscribe, follow, and we'll see you on the next episode of Bird's Eye View.